So we're getting ready for UFC 97, and one of the fighters is out here. Familiar face, but not familiar with UFC fans, WEC, and that is Brian Stann. How you doing?
I'm doing well, doing great. Just really happy to be here and excited to compete in such a big venue.
It's a big one because some of the WEC events were in nice-sized venues, but I mean this is about as big as it gets. Can you imagine what it's going to be like walking out in front of 21,500 fans?
Yeah, lucky for me, I played football in front of 80,000 people during the Army-Navy game in college, so I've had a little bit of that experience. It's obviously different when you're going into a one-on-one fight, but I think my main event fights in the WEC and being on national television, I think that helped. I think it'll definitely help with the pressure and things of that nature.
All right. Well, let's talk about the career at Navy. I want to get some of the background because Brian's background is really interesting. First of all, playing college football at Navy, what was that experience like? And the Army-Navy thing is completely intriguing to me because especially in these times right now, at the end of the season, you're going head-to-head. It's a bitter rivalry, and then you guys are going to be the guys who go out there and have to work together.
Playing football at Navy is something special. I mean, it's literally like a fraternity. If I was to run into a guy who played Navy football in 1988 and we met, I'd automatically have a place to stay, or if I needed anything, if he needed anything, that's just the way we are. And it's a brotherhood within a brotherhood at the Naval Academy. It's really special, and every fight I have, I'll finish the fight, and all of a sudden there'll be 10, 15 guys I played ball with that are there, that just came. I didn't even know they were there, and that's just the kind of relationship we all have. Playing in that game is obviously very special, especially now having served in Iraq and meeting with other guys that graduated from West Point and working with the Army and things of that nature. The competitiveness is all in a very friendly manner, like brothers or like two best friends, and that's just it makes it very, very special.
First of all, explain how that graduation works. I think layman would think, hey, it's just automatically into the Navy. So how do you make your way to the Marines?
Well, the Marine Corps is actually a department of the Navy. So when you're a senior, you start doing service selection, decide what exactly you want to do or what you want to be when you graduate. And, you get selected to be a Marine. You choose you want to be one. You get interviewed, and then, if they think you're fit for it, then you get selected. And usually out of a class of 1,200, there'll be about anywhere from 150 to 180 Marines that are chosen out of that class. So, it's a special thing. Every Marine who gets chosen to be a Marine during service selection, everybody shaves their heads. Everybody on campus can tell, who's going to be the Marines. So it's a lot of fun. And, that's another relationship between the Marine Corps and the Navy. Obviously, that's symbiotic. I mean, we work together, and, it's great whenever you travel and you see your old buddies from the academy.
So what's that like, 23, 22, 24 years old, and you're put in command of other human beings?
You quickly turn about 50, to be honest with you, especially, when you get your first platoon and then you go to Iraq. When I was going through all my training, we all knew we were headed to go. We all knew we were going to war, and there's a certain job responsibility you take on. You're not just sitting in a class learning techniques and tactics and procedures or combat lifesaver skills, and it's not like a class in school where you're daydreaming. I mean, you are completely focused. There's no question you're going to do your homework. There's no question you're going to do everything to your max capability, because the bottom line is you're actually going to be using those exact skills in the months to come. And, when you get your first platoon, it's like those kids are your sons. I mean, I still talk to the guys from my first platoon. They write me for recommendation letters for new jobs. They write me for recommendation letters for promotions. They'll ask me for anything. They'll just call me just to shoot the breeze. And I'm darn proud of that. There'll always be a special place in my heart for those guys, and I'd do anything for them.
All right. So what's your impression now? Now that you're a little more removed from it, you're not over there. Where we are now, and what's going to happen in the future. Is it kind of sad to say that down the road we may leave, all our forces may be removed at some point, and I don't know what was accomplished. Was there something accomplished? And do you fear that there could be just a complete collapse once we do leave?
If you're asking how I feel right now about it, I feel a great sense of accomplishment. Both areas that I served in Iraq are pacified, and the violence in that country is so de-escalated from what it was before. The government is working, and I think it's going to be a great thing when we pull all our troops out when it's done correctly. And I was happy to see that President Obama didn't just pull them all blanket out like he had first campaigned on. He thought about it, he spoke to the leaders over there, took their recommendations. And, for me, I have hopes that 20, 30 years from now that the Iraqi people are very happy and very thankful for the sacrifices we made over there. People don't understand what it's like in that country before we even got there. Mm-hmm. And, when you're born with all the opportunity in the world in America, regardless of your social status, you can achieve success in this country. When you're born in Iraq, you need to hope you're born into a province that has a school, that your parents have a job. I mean, it is extremely poor in that country. And what we were able to do is we were able to change a lot of those things. And, I hope that people get to see that in the future.
You think a lot of the pressure to pull immediately everyone out has kind of died down because people are willing to be understanding with President Obama, or has the economy become something that is just kind of sidetracked people? Because, or maybe that was kind of a selling point to sell fear on the other side too, to say, hey, this guy's going to come in and just wreak havoc and ruin the whole thing.
I think definitely the economy sidetracks some people. The other thing is, a lot of Americans these days won't exactly read into the situation fully. They won't do a lot of research on it. They'll listen to one headline or they hear one report, and all the reports from our media are normally coming back on all the negative that happens in Iraq. You're not going to hear about when we were in Habani and we reopened a school and built a school and re-emplaced the teachers. You're going to hear when a suicide bomb in some area of Iraq kills 3 or 4 soldiers or Marines, and that's part of the problem. And so I think that America just doesn't have the stomach to lose its own in a conflict that they don't know necessarily what kind of substantial difference we're making. We have made that substantial difference, and I think now that the difference has been made and they can see that the violence is down, I think they've turned their focus elsewhere at this point and realized that, okay, hey, maybe things are doing well over there.
Well, let's make the silly transition to something, I guess. Well, for you it's important because it's your fight career and you don't want to go in there and take any damage, but obviously, in the overall picture it doesn't mean a whole lot on a worldwide level. But talk about this fight a little bit. Probably not the best time, or maybe it is. Maybe off of a loss. Maybe that was kind of an awakening, and hey, it's time to change some things up. First of all, what'd you get out of the Cantwell fight? Because I know sitting cage side, the one thing that you might be disappointed with, at least that I witnessed, was it looked like your gas tank kind of emptied out a little quicker than you normally want to.
Well, that happened to both of us. We didn't pace ourselves at all in that fight. We just kind of sprinted through it and just hit each other as hard as we could for as long as we can go. The biggest thing was losses are the best thing that could happen to a fighter at certain points in their career. And, for me, I had so much going on in my life at that time. I had just gotten out of the Marine Corps. I had just moved to a completely new city that I didn't know, into a new house, had to start a brand new job, had a baby daughter. So, it was a large transitional period of my life, and I didn't think that would affect me in the fight, and it certainly did. I wasn't myself in that fight at all, and I had to change a lot of things. I had to find all new training partners when I moved to Atlanta, and I was trained out of 3 or 4 different gyms with no real one coach coordinating it all. So since that fight, I was asked by Greg Jackson to join his team, and I've been training there for the last 7 months. And, they've transformed me from an athlete who throws a couple punches to a mixed martial arts fighter. And I'm excited. I feel like now is the time where I should make my transition. I belong here, and I'll prove that Saturday night against Christoph.
So what do you think of Christoph? First of all, a southpaw, if I'm correct, right? So a different look. Does that change things? And what do you think of him as a fighter? He's taken some losses. Now, he also fought a lot at heavyweight, so he's fought bigger guys in the past, but experienced guy, and he looks like a guy who can do just about everything, a little more proficient on the feet.
He's a great guy. I've met him before. I have a lot of respect for him as a person. He's a good, experienced fighter. He's fought a lot. I don't think in his last 5 or 6 fights he's fought anybody that substantial since he left the IFL at least. And he's pretty well-rounded, but I don't see any area where he could dominate me in any fashion. I think I'm a lot more powerful on the feet, more athletic on our feet, so I think he's going to have some issues there. He's going to try and take me down on the ground, and if he can get me to the ground, I think he's going to be unpleasantly surprised when he takes me there because I'm more proficient than he assumes I am.